Kizer decided to change things up for February of 2025. Not only do we have pretty much exclusively premium knives to show you today, one of them is entering a brand new tier for Kizer. Let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have the Mini Momo. This is the premium version of the knife. We have fat carbon scales. This is their what do they call it? The 80s camo thing where they basically mix some highlighter colors in there, which is very, very cool on both sides. Mill titanium pocket clip, mill titanium back spacer. We also have titanium bolsters on this, and this is a liner lock, or it might actually be a sub frame lock or a titanium frame lock. I'm not 100% sure. Hold on a second. Yeah, okay, it is a steel. It is a steel, it's a liner lock. All right, so, but it looks like a milled steel liner lock. You can see the dimension of it. It's a little bit different, a little bit more premium liner lock design, but the action is phenomenal. Like the front flipper quite a bit. And of course, you can always just grab the blade if you would like to. Speaking of the blade, we once again have that phenomenal polished DLC. I really, really, really like the way they have done this. I fell in love with it with the Multitool, and they have continued to make it, which makes me very, very happy, especially at the price points that they tend to offer these knives at. They're getting a very, very premium experience for a fraction of the cost that some other brands might release it in. I have to reiterate the same thing, and I'm going to be saying it a bunch in this video. I really, really dislike over-branding, especially on premium knives where looks matter. Like white text on black. It can be even like laser etched and be barely visible. It doesn't need to be seen at all. And it just does things to the look. And if you're going to do it, leave it on one side. Do we need this huge Kizer thing written on it? Probably not. They could have even just done something as tasteful as the emblem and left it there. That's pretty much my only real gripe with Kizer. Or they could just put it right here on the pivot like so many other brands do, where you have like a milled pattern that shows the Kizer emblem right there. And that would be good enough for me. And it would allow this to really pop in the way it should. It already looks really good, but yeah, that's something I have to say. Now, 3.2-inch blade here, S35 VN, titanium bolsters. Yeah, great job. Liner lock on this. So it's actually a milled liner lock. So I believe it's steel on steel. So this is not a titanium liner. That's actually just fine with me, but just really well executed. Just really, really nice. I'm thinking of keeping it because I like it so much. If I don't, it'll probably end up getting sold on Wednesday's live stream on Whatnot. I'm still debating. Let me know in the comments, should I sell it or should I keep it? Next up, we have the Buddy. So this is a fixed blade knife that is designed by somebody's name, which I'm not gonna butcher. So you'll just have to look that one up. But we have S35 VN, fat carbon scales, which are a very nice premium touch. You have a nice little chamfer right here for pinch grip. Nice option there. A canted forward blade, which is getting in at exactly 3 inches of blade length. Yay, love that. Staying in legal limits. And I have to say, this is not what I thought would happen. It's pretty comfortable for such a thin handle. I usually find that these are pretty, well, they kind of poke in a little bit, but this isn't bad at all. And I think partially it's because of this lanyard. And in fact, it does offer a nice fourth finger position where most people are gonna probably end up kind of falling off it a little bit, which is why it's kind of curved, so you can kind of catch it and get almost a 3.5 finger grip. Full flat grind, nice sharpening choil on this one. Not much more to say, just a really nicely executed knife. I also really like this like version of the, oh my God, why can I not remember the name of what what this is when they do this, where they grind it down. Anyway, it creates this really pretty flat spot right behind the tip. And not that I'm saying you should ever baton with this, but it creates the same amount of surface area than if you didn't remove this, but at the same time offers a nicer look and also makes it a little bit lighter. Technically speaking, it also helps with penetration, but that's besides the point. That's not exactly what this knife was designed for, at least not that I think so. The sheath is done really, really well. There's no wiggle, and it does allow you to get a full grip without having to readjust your position after pulling it out. So I like that as well. I'm not super keen on the tech lock or similar design with these. I would never, ever, 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 ever carry a small fixed blade riding that high on my belt. That makes zero sense to me whatsoever. If I was going to carry it on my belt on the outside like that, I would do something like scout lashings, which allow me to either carry it across my belt in the front, on the side, in the back, whatever it happened to be, or I would probably carry this in pocket with some kind of clip. The problem is that most of these knives are being sent with clips that don't function for any of the normal purposes. At the very minimum, I hope that Kizer will begin to include scout carry straps, which can be made of nylon for all I care. But having the hardware inside would give greater versatility to the knife and make it more likely that people would consider it, because they don't have to go then buy a secondary clip from something like Ulticlip or, oh shoot, what is the name of that company? I'll put it here. Future me will take care of it. But there are some great clips out there, and if they're not going to go that route, at the very minimum, give me some scout carry straps. That's pretty much all I got to say. So a nicely executed fixed blade. The fact that the sheath itself works and is nice and secure, and I don't have any issues finding the opening. I mean, that is, there's a lot of more premium expensive knives that don't nail the sheath, and this does thankfully nail the sheath. I would have preferred, however, still to have a taco style so I could trim it out even further. But hey, to each their own. I think that there will be other people who would rather have a dangler style attachment, and you could definitely add a loop that would allow this to hang much lower on the belt, and you would need maybe a custom piece for that, but it is definitely still possible. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, and is this the best fixed blade that they have come out with recently, or do you prefer something else that they have developed? All right, well, this is definitely something a bit different, especially for Kizer. They don't usually reach up into the mid-tech or super premium tier of knives, but this one only has 60 units. It is an M390 with titanium handles and further different titanium inlays to go along with it. One of the more unique pieces that has ever come across the table, no question. I mean, every little detail on this knife has been thought through very, very carefully, from the different finishes on the titanium backspacer to how close it comes right here to kind of make it look more like an integral, the little venting, which makes this feel very much like a jail in Star Wars. That's just kind of what it feels like to me. Even the pivot. They went so far as to even make the dice that it comes with match the pivot as well. So they've went through a lot of little things in order to deliver on this knife, which is in M390 and is stonewashed. It is both thumb stud and front flipper capable. I'm going to put a couple of stats on the screen to kind of save a little bit of time. We have a recurved blade, so it's very subtle, so you're not going to have to do anything particularly different on your sharpening system because it's so subtle here, but it does offer a really nice look to it, I have to say. The action, well, I mean, as you'd expect from something in this category, it's very, very good, very, very smooth, almost scary smooth. Thankfully, there is a nice spot for my thumb, so I'm not worried about it. Even when it comes down fast, it's not going to hurt me. So that's good. That feels like it was thought through correctly. You'll notice these cutouts here what those are for is small tritium vials. Now, the reason they don't come with tritium vials is that adds a whole layer of regulatory issues when you're shipping. And I would imagine you don't want to pay for it, trust me. So having the option to put it in is great. And I think having these types of holes cut into more knives actually would be a good idea. But yeah, it doesn't come with them, all right? So it comes with spare thumb studs and all the hardware, even the stop pins. That's very, very cool. Now, when you flip it open, you'll notice that the thumb stud stops right at the frame, but it does also have an internal stop pin, which I just realized. Really, really nice internal milling here. Beautiful knife. So this thing is gonna hit a pretty eyebrow-raising price of around $350 to $400. I mean, it depends. I can't remember the exact number. I'll put it on the screen and the listing. But needless to say, if you're buying this knife, you are a collector, more than likely. I don't think you buy this knife and think to yourself, yeah, that's gonna be a really good user knife. That's not really the shtick. This is something different, and they're testing the waters with this knife. I don't know if the market is ready for yet another ultra premium brand. Only time will tell. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Have you ever spent $350 or more on a knife? Have you ever spent $150 or more on a knife? What is the most you have ever spent on a knife? It could be a knife, it could be a multi-tool or a fixed blade. I don't care. I'm just curious to hear your experience and what did that feel like, and did it create a situation where now you're okay with spending more on knives? That's pretty much it for today. As always, thank you guys for your time, and we'll talk again soon.